let's get to our little demonstration here. And so here's where I'm going to do my really cool switch. Are you ready? All right, so I'm going to be doing a little titmouse. And these guys I really think are cute. They kind of look like a miniature blue jay, right? And they've got these kind of dark grayish blue colorings to them, mostly up in the northern areas in the snowy regions. So I don't know if maybe Miss Donna Jansen, you have these in Colorado or something, but these guys are adorable. So I thought they would be a nice little addition. Instead, you know, our winter birds are typically cardinals, but they're also typically Christmas. So I thought it would be kind of fun to do a different winter bird. Okay. All right. So let's get started. All right. So we have wicker white. I'm going to put out, I'm not quite sure the blue tones yet, so I'm going to put out a couple different blues. I'm going to put out some cobalt and some Prussian blue. All right, I'm going to get some licorice here, and then for our tree, I'm going to put out just a little bit of burnt sienna and burnt umber. All right, and we've got berries, so I'm putting out a little bit of apple red and berry wine. And I'm also going to put out a little bit of medium gray. Okay. There we go. And now a little bit of medium in case I need it. Okay, so let's get started. I sketched this little guy out and I'm going to switch positions here. There we go. All right, let's start first with our bird. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the bird and then we'll bring the branch across and then we'll add his little feet. Okay. And then we'll finish with the berries. So I'm going to pick up first a bunch of white on a 12 flat right here. Okay, so I'm loading a 12 flat with white, and then I'm going to come and side load. I forgot to add more foam plates in my studio here, so I'm like quick grab something. So I grab my double loader, which I normally don't use unless I'm teaching class for beginners. But this will work. Okay. It's just outside of my norm. It's sharp and clear, yay. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to come down from his head here and we're going to get a little more white. That's a little too much gray. All right. A little more white. And because we have this branch break right through, I can work on upper and lower parts of him. So that's what I'm going to do, because I want to let this kind of dry. And then we'll be able to do our black and other tones. Okay, so let me come down just a little bit closer. Okay, now I'm going to grab just a little more gray and I'm going to darken underneath his belly, or I believe this is the heat because the heats are usually the more colorful ones. Okay, and then we're just going to let that sit. Now I'm going to wipe off my brush and I'm going to come get mostly medium gray and I'm going to side load some burnt umber. So I have a dirty brush, so there's a little bit of white, and then I'm getting burnt umber, medium gray on my brush, okay? And so we're going to come down here underneath our branch, and we're going to come stroke, flip it over, and kind of fill in that tail area. And then I'm going to, let me shove that up there a little bit, get a little more gray and then side load some white. And down here at the base of the tail, we're going to stroke a little bit of a highlight there. Now, what I want to do is create the feather look. Now that we've got the coloring in there, we're going to stroke the feathers. So on the chisel edge of the brush, I'm going to touch and pull up here, and you layer, okay? So you're pulling up either side. Okay, I'm not coming all the way down to the end of the tail, just shy of it. And then you're going to layer. I'm going to get a little more of that brown. Oops, wrong edge. A little more of that brown, and we're going to layer dark inside the light, okay? There we go. So pretty simple little tail. And what we want to work on now is, while this is drying, also we're going to work on the head and the top of the side of the wing here. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and put my branch in there so that can kind of dry, so that I then have the ability to do the feet, his little claws. So I'm double loading that same 12. I just cleaned it, and I'm picking up burnt sienna and burnt umber. Okay. And I'm going to come, thank you, I appreciate that you like my demos. I like doing demos as long as they turn out. They don't always turn out. My husband was asking me, had I painted this bird before? And I said, I painted a bird before, but I'm winging it. Okay, so just a real simple little branch that he's sitting on, but we're going to put some snow on there, and it's dark right underneath where, darkest where he's sitting, and then we're going to pull some branches out. So chisel edge, and you're pulling short little strokes out from the branch. You want to make sure that you're creating like a Y right here where the branch breaks apart or splits. Okay, and that's as far as I'm going to go with this, and there's, you know, you can do lots of other details with that. I'm going to pull a little branch in here, and then I'm going to come right across the tail. Okay, and we're going to put some berries on that and some snow. So if I want to, at this point, then I can put a few highlights. If I side load a little bit of white, I can stroke in and kind of work in a little bit of highlights. This isn't the snow, this is just helping this branch to look a little more round, okay? Give it some lighter edge. All right, so now what I want to do, I'm going to switch to a number 10 flat. That was a 12 flat. I apologize if I didn't say that earlier. And hello, Susan from Georgetown, Ontario, Canada. Happy New Year to you too. All right, so this is a 10 flat. So we're going to come and work with our, I'm going to go with the cobalt because I feel like that's going to be the correct color for the blue on this bird, because I think the Prussian's going to be a little too dark. Okay, so we're going to get cobalt and white. I'm going to bring this over here and work it into my brush. So cobalt and white, and work it in. Now I'm going to add just a touch of the medium gray to the cobalt to turn it the tone that I want for this bird. Add a little bit of medium. Okay. And we're going to come along now, along the left edge. This bird is facing to the right, and we're going to come along the left edge, and we're going to stroke up short little, oops, let me come down just a little. Okay, so I'm doing short little strokes here, coming up, or coming down from the top of his head. You can see why they call him Tufted. He's got this kind of tufted little head with all these feathers sticking out, okay? And so I've done this kind of going around the face, pulling it down into, and I pick up more white as I do the layers so that you can see the different layers of the feathers. Now, I'm going to get more white on my brush. It's a little bit blurry right now, and I think that's because I'm closer with my camera. And I'm going to start pulling in more white. Let me wipe off all that blue because that's just too much blue. So we're going to come to just white with a touch of gray. All right, and we're going to pull that in and around the face towards the eye. A little more white. That's what I want. It needs to be white, white. Now let's pull it out from the eye down into the side feathers here. Okay. And then it's going to get incorporated right into his chest. A little bit of blue coming down into the chest there. See that? Oh yes, also now hardwired rather than using Wi-Fi, so it's much faster and sharper because of that. So no Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, we're using an actual connection. And I'm just adding little touches of blue where I see it in the picture coming up here. Okay, wiping that brush off now, I'm going to pick up just a tiny bit of burnt umber. And I think I need a little bit of licorice with that because it's more black brown. Okay, so just little tips of that dark on the edge of the brush, or edge of his wing. Okay, more black, and I'm going to come right in here on his forehead. Okay, and then I want to switch now to a 2-flat. When you start working in smaller areas, you want to start working with smaller brushes. And so we're going to come right in here and pull out the black around the face. There you go, honey. They want you to do a class. They're starving for techie stuff. All right, so now the beak. I want to pull a little short beak. I don't like the place I sketched it there, so I'm going to put it in here instead. Their beaks are short and they're dark, like a dark blue-black, okay? And I want to bring that up so you can see it, but it's not focusing, so that's something we're going to have to work on to fix that. All right, a little bit of white across, oops. Let's grab that again. A little bit of white across the bridge of the beak right there. Okay. And I want to bring, ooh, oh shoot. Drop my brush. Oh well. There we go. A little more of a downward triangle. That's better. All right, and then this black pulls down into his little chest, like that. All right, clean that brush. And I'm going to get white. All right, I got a little bit of water on there. I want to clean that off. There we go. So just white, and we're going to come right in here around the eye and kind of strengthen that. Okay, all around that eye. So you're just kind of setting that with some white there. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dip the handle of that brush into black, and we're going to dot the eye. Just like that, he comes alive. Wipe that handle off. Okay. All right, now I could not find my dotting tool, so I have this other one that works just as well. I'm going to dip into white, and we're going to dot a little glare. Oops, it's still too wet. Let me get fresh white. There we go. A little glare in his eye. And then I want to get a little black on the tip of that, and this is what I'm going to do. From the edge of the light, from the edge of the eye, I'm going to pull little short feathers that come out around the back side of that eye. Okay. So you can use the little dot tip on this to do that with. And he's coming out pretty. He is cute. Okay, so last thing I want to do for him, I'm going to take my script liner and get some burnt umber. All right, and we're going to do his little claws. And so right in here, we're going to pull, let me streak through some white so that shows up. We're going to pull a claw down like that. There's 3 of them on the front and then 1 on the back. His leg is tucked up on inside his feathers here. All right, now what you want to do next with that is take a little bit of black and go on the inside of the left 2 and the outside of the right one to set that, and then wipe that off. Come back to your brown. All right, and this one you can kind of see the leg poking out from underneath the feathers right here, and then his little claws come down like that. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing, swipe through a little bit of white and add a little highlight on the leg and the claw. Come back with a little bit of black. There we go. Okay, now that's our cute little guy, and you can come in now with that 2 again and a little bit of white and gray and just wipe down some feathers over and then brush up and back and forth in underneath his belly there to incorporate them, but you can swipe a few feathers down over his feet to make him look more part of him. Oops, picked up some black there. That's okay. It happens. There we go. All right, little feathers and then white. Sweep it back and forth. That'll incorporate it back into the color. But it's important that it stays light right here in his chest, and then you've got the shading coming around there. Now if you want to lighten up a few spots with some white and make him look a little more realistic, then you can do that. Okay, so that's our cute little titmouse. Now to finish up the branches, I'm going to take my pouncer, excuse me, and I'm going to get some red. This is the apple red, okay, on that, and then I'm going to get half of that into berry wine. So we've got a 2-color berry here. And you can do little clusters of berries on the ends of these branches. Just a little push and twist like that. There we go. Okay, just a little added color, which I thought was a really nice touch. All right, now to finish them off, we're going to take just white on this 2 flap, okay? Or you can use a scruffy or whatever you like, but you're just gonna come along. Best if you can let it dry and let the berries dry, but we don't have that time tonight. So I'm just gonna come in here and plop little bits of snow along the branch. Leave the heavy so it looks like snow. It's got some texture. Let it come right up against his body. And then back down here. All right, and just a little bit along this branch too. And then you can touch it on the top of the berries if they're starting to dry. Okay, so I want to see some of you guys try this tomorrow when you get time and share it. I want to see how you do. Okay, you can come right across on this little branch here. I'm getting a little bit pink there because of my snow touching the red there. All right, so you can just kind of tap that snow, but you gotta be careful you don't pick up the red. You don't want red snow. Okay, so just a fun little, this would make a cute little greeting card. I know my friend Brenda's been doing greeting cards lately. She likes to paint those. Okay. And I think that will just about do it for, and we're going to cover up this nasty black that I made here. There we go. All right, so there's our cute little titmouse sitting on a branch in the snow with his red winter berries. So I hope you like that. And looks like you thought he was cute, so thank you. And there we go. He's not as puffed up as the one that I had as the example, but that was my example. That's what we came up with. But he's still cute.